Oh boy. So ladies and gentlemen, my name is RuffledRowlit and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today, I've got something slightly different for you all. Today we're doing something slightly different. So, now ladies and gentlemen, we've had our hands on a lot of different Pokemon regions and whatnot over the past 20 years or so. But now we're going to be taking a look at the Galar region in terms of Pokemon. We're going to be visiting the Galar region. A region that is seemingly modeled off of the UK, which to me instantly means we'll have, some sort of connections to, UK-esque stuff, like UK-based sports and that sort of stuff, and one of those things is football, so definitely gonna see, connections to football in there. Now, as someone who enjoys football myself, I have basically a lot of things I want to say about the subject, and in today's kind of, video, in conjunction with the topic we're doing, I'm also going to talk a little bit about the gyms, as well as how they would, make sense and how they will work, as well as how they would work, with a Pokemon kind of football-esque style to it, if that makes any sense. As someone who grew up, with football and loved football and watches football on a constant basis, this makes me genuinely excited. So, let's just break it down like this. First of all, thank you to Deadeye's Art. Now, I've got to say Deadeye's Art, he's a freaking legend. Like, he's literally helped me out with a previous video like crazy well, and he actually made the artwork for this video. And what this video is going to be about is us talking about what the first gym is going to be like. Like, which probably sounds weird, but it seems like, based on the small amounts of information we've been given, that the grass-type gym in the game might be, in terms of, based on what we've seen though, in terms of what we've seen, will be a grass-type gym. And we're going to talk about what it's going to be based on, like in terms of, is it supposed to be based on some football stadium, or what's the deal, and all that stuff and whatnot. So, we're going to take a look at that, and yeah, let's going to break it down, talk about what the gym leader could be like, and also some Fakemon that we have here to showcase for what the trainers could use in there. So as we already established, since the UK is a football country, it is where football kind of flourished the most and started from, it's a country that I think is perfect to have some sort of connection to the sport itself. Now, in Pokemon, we already have a sport similar to that in one of the Pokemon movies featuring Zoroark, and that's the sport known as Bakir. Now, in Bakir, it's similar. You have 3 Pokemon teams. It's a weird little sport. It's kind of awkward, if I'm going to be honest to explain. It's kind of weird and kind of a strange sport, to be frankly honest about it, but basically it's playing three teams and all that stuff, and it's pretty straightforward. Now, as for Pokemon in, Generation 8 and how the battle's going to work in these gyms, I've already speculated about this before, and I think a lot of different channels have talked about the subject line, about what the gyms are going to be like. Is it going to be a tournament style? Is it going to be some sort of switching, between like an offense and defense mode in battles in the gyms? What's the deal going to be like? Well, I don't know, but I will say that I think the most likely path we're going to follow is going to be the path of probably some sort of tournament style, battles. And maybe even we will have like the whole concept of defending, switching from like, offense and defense mode. Who knows? Maybe that will actually end up being a thing. But so far right now, it's really hard to tell. I'm going to be frankly honest. It's really hard to tell at the moment. And I can't really put a finger on it and be like, this is exactly how it's going to work like. But here's where we're going to start from though, guys. The grass-type gym. Now, if you look on the map at this exact spot right here, you will see a little village that features the actual first gym. Now, we assume this is the first gym because it's the first one that pops up on the map when you go away from the bottom of the map, which is the starting town, which we think is the starting town based on the fact that it's one of the first places shown, and it's also at the bottom of the map, and it seems to also look like the starting place because there's a freaking professor's lab there as well. So all that kind of establishes that that's the starting area, and you just go up forward, you'll notice that the only place that you can visibly see a gym is the grass area earliest on. Now, there is also another area, which is the water-type looking gym on the right side here, next to the ocean on the coast. That's also one of the places, but, it's just one of those areas, and, we'll just go with the grass-type being the first one. Of course, there's also the big city right before the actual gym, which does seemingly feature a gym inside of it as well. If you guys haven't seen that, then in one of the actual breakdowns, or rather, one of the breakdowns made by many people, you can actually see that behind, I think, Omori, in the announcement trailer and the announcement Pokemon Direct, you will actually see that there's one of those gym logos, seemingly like the league logos, are seemingly on one of the buildings there, seeming to point towards the fact that there's going to be a gym of some sort there as well. So I think that should establish that there is a gym in between there, but the question is, will you be able to take that gym on straight away? Because sometimes Pokemon will deviate you away from the original path and take you to a different one, so it's a high possibility. Now, as for the first gym though, let's talk about that for a minute. So, it's in a very grassy area. It's you can see there's a giant field here. There's a lot of Well, a lot of grass, let's put it like that, right? It's basically a village. There's a lot of, like, you know, field work going on and that sort of stuff. So, you know, it's kind of like just what your average kind of village town, so to say, with, you know, some big attraction, but mostly just kind of farms and, you know, that sort of stuff. So, pretty straightforward. And of course, we have the big-ass gym that's huge. And of course, these gyms are modeled after the actual real-life football stadiums in the UK, because those tend to be pretty gigantic and, like, really spectacles to look at, if I'm going to be frankly honest. And they seem to stay kind of similar if you look at the map. If you look at the first one, the green one, then you look at the, you know, blue one, then like the kind of stone-looking one, as well as the one in the forest up in the, you know, the upper part, you will notice they all look very similar in design. Like the exterior color is different, but the overall designs are pretty much very similar, which would imply that the gyms are going to work in a similar manner, but again, we haven't seen how all of them look from the inside. But if we go with the assumption it's going to work like a tournament, then it could work like a football tournament, or it could just work like a normal type gym, but you don't actually have obstacles to get through to get to the actual battle with the final person in there. Or it could work like a league battle, where basically you're going to be able to take on these trainers in there one by one until you beat all of them in a row. Then you can take on the gym leader, but you have to beat all of them before you can take on the gym leader. Something like that could work. Now, of course, we've seen some footage from the trailer showing seemingly a Lucario attacking a Tyranitar, which would mean that, you know, and I'm not sure exactly where that, you know, footage from which one of the gyms. Some people have said it looks like to be the grass gym. Some people have said it's the final gym at the top of the map. It's a little bit of a, you know, a split on what it actually is. I can't really 100% tell, but if we go with the assumption that this is, you know, I don't know, from one of the other gyms, then we can go with the assumption that there are going to be different types of Pokemon in here. But if we go with the assumption that these are not meant to be, you know, different gyms, and this is supposed to be like the grass type gym, then it would be strange for them to be using a Lucario in that battle, or vice versa for them to be using a Tyranitar, depending on which side we're seeing this. You know, it would be a little bit strange, let's be honest, because, you know, why would they be using that? But let's assume that that is actually a ground type gym, for example, from like the area up, like, you know, further up there where you see like a more of a stony type of gym. Maybe it's that's where that footage is from, or maybe even further up in the game from areas we haven't even seen yet. But either way, besides that, the grass type gym itself though, well, like I said, it looks very much like a football stadium, and if it is a football stadium, then I would assume the gym leader will be very much based on a, like, football player, right? Rather than having like this extravagant, crazy outfit, I'm assuming is going to look more like your average, you know, like football player, just your average football player in an outfit. And for that, we actually have a design here, which I mentioned earlier was made by Deadeye's Art. So Deadeye's Art made a fantastic looking artwork. We actually have two Fakemon to talk about in a second as well, but we'll start with the actual trainer here. So first things first, the man's got a, like a, just low cut, you know, like not too much hair on the head, pretty fierce eyes, ready to rumble. Of course, the shirt also has the logo of the league, as we've seen on the different places in the game, you know, like different areas. We've seen on some, you know, for example, we've seen it on the trainer's outfit, like the trainer outfit that you use when you go into the stadium, which, by the way, still also looks like a football, you know, like an outfit that you use when you play football. That's very much like one of those, which is very interesting when you think about it, right? But this guy is very similar to that. He's got the, you know, the logo of the league on there, but of course also on the shirt, we had to include the leaf. Now, real quick, for those who do know football, I actually based this, or I gave, you know, when I told Deadeye's Art to make this, I actually gave him a picture of the outfit from Wolfsburg, actually. So I know Wolfsburg is not really a, you know, British team, but I thought it would be a cool design to use because their original, you know, their general outfits are pretty green, so I thought it'd be a good way for him to kind of make the design. Of course, the shorts as well have the logo on there, but they're more white, and of course have the logo, you know, the league, as well as the leaf logo on there as well. We of course also have, you know, football shoes, that sort of stuff. Pretty straightforward. You see the design, it's pretty clean, pretty straightforward, and I think that maybe the first gym leader will be something like this. Again, football is really big in the UK, and not having some level of influence from that in here would be a truly strange thing for them to do. It would be weird if they didn't go down that path. So I personally think they're definitely going to use that as an inspiration here, and for that also, we decided to make a few Fakemon, as well as include some Pokemon that he could use. So if this is a grass-type gym, and the gym leader is going to be pretty effective against most of the stuff you're going to use, well, we have these two creatures for him. So I would love to hear you guys in the comment section down below, actually, to let me know, what do you guys think these two would be called? So of course we got the smaller one right here, the first stage evolution, which is basically a badger Pokemon. So these are based on badgers. The first stage evolution is a cute little like badger that's just tiny, a little bit lost, doesn't really know what it's doing, and this man would be rolling with two of these in his team. So he'd be rolling with a small one, and also its evolution, which is a larger badger, which you can see on the side here, which is far larger and far more fierce and ready to rumble. This thing is definitely a strong grass type in my opinion. It's essentially going to aim to be a dark grass type, I would probably say, because of the mix of the colors in there, as you can see, you know, the dark and the green colors, which definitely match well together. So a dark grass type Pokemon would be, or grass dark type rather, would actually be really cool. And I would love to know what you guys think these should be called though. So let me know in the comment section down below. In your opinion, ladies and gentlemen, what should these be called? What are your opinions on them and all that sort of stuff? I'd gladly want to know about that because I think they would work well. But another Pokemon I think this man would be rolling would be something, and it's all being based on football. I think the perfect Pokemon for him to use would be a Sceptile. Why? Because Sceptile is really fast and agile, and football players have to be fast and agile to actually play the sport, as it requires a lot of speed. But yeah, so I think definitely in terms of the gym, this first gym is going to 100% go down the path of being a very, very classic football stadium type gym. It's going to look like a football stadium. It's going to have a gym leader that looks like a football, you know, like a prodigy in football or whatever. He's going to be ruling this gym and taking care of it and all that, being the top dog there. And you're going to have to get through the league there, or the tournament, like do some sort of tournament battles, you know what I mean, until you get to the final boss, which would be this man. So let me know in the comment section down below, guys. What would you think about this man's name? What should he be called? And also, what should the two Fakemon be called? And do you think it's good enough to have the one Badger and the evolution of the Badger, and then a Sceptile as his team? So that would be 3 Pokemon. And if you were forced to play with the same amount of Pokemon as him, as kind of like a league battle like that, because that's what they do in the animes, they sometimes are forced to use a certain amount of Pokemon because that's just how it is. So if you were allowed to only use 3 Pokemon against him, which ones would you use? And do you think that's a good idea as a way to balance out battles, to make it so that you can't go in there with like 5 to 6 Pokemon and defeat him, even though, you know, when he only has 3? So do you guys think that would be a cool idea, a good idea? Let me know in the comment section down below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. My name's RuffledRowlit, and of course, a big thank you to Deadeye's Art. Do check him out. It's going to be a link down below to his Twitter. Check him out there, give him some love, and thank you so much for watching, guys. Peace out.